Even now, if I close my eyes, I can still hear the steady beep collapse into a flat line. The air in the room was icy, yet every word my parents spoke felt like a scalding brand, measured, dismissive, spoken with that quiet certainty they always carried like a badge. Asterisk, just give it 5 minutes, Rachel. Settle down. Asterisk, my mother's hand rested on my shoulder as though she were consoling me, but her fingers were stiff, her expression wrong. And in her arms, my child, my tiny, struggling newborn, was losing color. Stop overreacting, my father said, sharp and irritated, like I was interrupting his evening rather than watching my son fade. Worked up. That was the phrase that snapped something inside me. I stopped trembling. I started thinking. There was a time I thought highly of them. My father, decisive and admired, all clean lines and authority. My mother, soft-spoken but always calculating, a kind of quiet power I never recognized as dangerous until it was too late. They'd raised me to follow their lead without question, to stay polished and agreeable. I confused their control with affection. When I told them I was expecting, they reacted like I had announced a new investment rather than a child. When he arrived far too early, they swept in as though the situation belonged to them. We know what's best, my mother insisted, and I let her. I let both of them. They second-guessed every nurse, hovered over every doctor, contradicted me with that same cool superiority. Little things at first. My instincts brushed aside. My decisions overridden. The night before everything fell apart, I walked into the NICU and found my mother disconnecting one of his monitors to straighten the wires. Her smile came too fast, too practiced. My father froze when he saw me watching before he tried to smooth it over with a joke the nurse didn't even pretend to appreciate. It's easy to overlook patterns when you're exhausted beyond reason. But I noticed their growing boldness, an unsettling confidence that didn't belong in a room full of fragile lives. Then a nurse took me aside, her voice barely audible. Asterisk, your parents have been interfering with the equipment. You need to stay alert. Asterisk. I didn't break down. I didn't even blink. I thanked her and walked back with the kind of calm that comes when fear finally hardens into clarity. They didn't want my son gone. They wanted him helpless. They wanted me dependent, small, manageable. A twisted blend of dominance and delusion. My grief sharpened into method. My fear became discipline. I documented everything, photos, logs, statements. I asked questions I already knew the answers to, watching them reveal their arrogance one sentence at a time. My mother telling me I was too emotional. My father insisting I wasn't being rational. I saved every word. I met with the hospital board. I found a lawyer on another floor under the excuse of getting coffee. I told the nurse who had warned me that I needed 5 days. Just 5. Enough time to dismantle the 2 people who had underestimated me my entire life. Then came the moment. My son's oxygen plummeted. The alarms went off. My mother rocked him as if soothing him, but the wires told a truth she hoped I couldn't read. Asterisk, just 5 minutes, Rachel. Calm down. Asterisk, my father disconnected a secondary monitor to reset it, and my baby's lips turned blue. I didn't yell. I didn't lunge. I stepped back and let them continue for precisely 17 seconds. Long enough. Stop being dramatic, my father said. That was the last mistake they ever made. The nurse entered with 2 security officers. Then the head of the board. Then a detective. My parents' expressions shifted slowly, certainty curdling into confusion, then cracking into fear. My mother whispered my name like I had betrayed them. I stayed silent. The footage played. Their voices sounded colder on the recordings. The timestamps lined up perfectly with every report I'd filed. My father tried to argue. My mother tried to cry. Nothing helped. When the cuffs closed around their wrists, my son's reading steadied. The nurse fixed the wires properly, and his color slowly returned. Only then did I let myself breathe. They were formally charged. Serious charges. The hospital banned them permanently. Their reputations crumbled. People later asked whether I felt guilty, whether it had been revenge. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation, me choosing my son over the people who believed they owned us. Every morning, I sit by his incubator. He's tiny, stubborn, resilient, like me. And I lean close and tell him the truth he deserves to grow up with. Asterisk, you were never the fragile one. They were. I just finally stopped letting them pretend otherwise. Asterisk. For the first time, my voice belongs entirely to me.